debris flying around. That's the key. You want to protect yourself from flying debris. Avoid windows at all costs. Get underneath something sturdy, maybe a workbench. Cover yourself up. Pillows, blankets, that'll help protect from any falling debris. And typically, mobile homes, you want to get out of those things. And I know if the storms are right on top of you, that's a hard thing to do. So typically, before the storms hit, earlier in the day, you want to make a plan to get somewhere sturdy. Maybe it's a grocery store, a gas station, a restaurant, or a friend's house. So just kind of keep those things in mind as we roll deeper into the night. So once again, a tornado warning in effect for places like Breckinridge County, central and eastern Breckinridge County, western Hardin, and far southern Meade County for the next several minutes. Again, it was one of these line segments, and it looked like a little mesovortice tried to form on it, so there could be a quick spin-up tornado. As we take a look at the actual velocity, wind velocity, and pattern, and I zoom in tight, sure enough, you can see there's a little twisting going on in this region right here. Look real close now. I'll illustrate this for you. There is some bright green. That indicates winds blowing towards the top right portion of your TV set in a rapid fashion. There's darker green immediately north of there. That implies lighter wind, same direction, but nonetheless, just because the sheer change in speed, that implies rotation, cyclonic rotation. So that's why the tornado warning has been issued for this area, and everything moving quickly off towards the east at speeds of around 40 miles per hour. So we're going to track that messy zone of very, very chaotic wind flow as it moves off to the east, speeds of 40 to 45 miles an hour. Boodleyville, High Plains, Big Spring, Four Corners, the Flaherty area, that rotation could be very close to your community within the next 10 to 15 minutes or so, and a little bit after midnight as we get towards Four Corners and also Flaherty. Still around the metro, not much happening. I can hear the rain on the rooftop right now of the studio, but no severe weather ongoing around the metro at this point in the game. We'll go ahead and take off the storm track. We'll pull out. We'll take a look at the entire viewing area, go back over to our reflectivity field. And yeah, there you go. You can see one tornado warning off to the southwest. Off to the north, we have a severe thunderstorm warning that encompasses Clark County on into western and northern portions of Oldham County. This includes Sellersburg, Charlestown, Goshen, up U.S. Highway 42. It includes places like, let's call it Henryville, New Washington, Marysville. These are the areas that are under the gun for the possibility of some hail and also some gusty winds over the next few minutes. Suzanne, anything showing up on the chat?
We've not had any reports of any damage or anything like that. I think they were just concerned that they saw that couplet tightening up a little bit. And you can see when you were showing us, Jay, some of the storm relative velocity here, you can see a little bit of rotation showing up. You can see in the southern corner of that warning area. If we want to switch over to Lynx 3 really quickly, we can kind of identify this for you. And you can see right near Garfield, this is near the High Plains area, over near Corners in Big Spring. We are seeing some kind of messy rotation with the storm relative velocity here. And we are seeing also, when we take a look at the shear rotation detectors, picking up some shear just a little bit to the north of Irvington. Our storm system, our radar is picking up some rotation. They're also picking up some rotation just outside Hardinsburg here. So again, this is why they have that warning for this area right here. This is right along 60, heading into the Bewleyville area, tracking really fairly quickly, Jay, at about 50 miles per hour. So we can just go ahead and track that for you to give you an idea of where that storm's heading at about 50 miles per hour. So this is going to be near Hillgrove in about 14 minutes, Big Spring in about 15 minutes, over near Vine Grove in about 25 minutes, and also right near Rhineyville in about 27 minutes. If this were to hold together, we know obviously that we are seeing strong storms. This line has had a history of producing some strong winds, and these storms are rotating. You know, this is an area, Jay, that hasn't been really worked over so far, so there's still some instability in the atmosphere. It is warm, it is humid, and we have this potent line moving through.
Okay, Suzanne, thank you so very much. Yeah, so we still have to be on our guard as these storms move across the remainder of the viewing area.
Oh.
Areas off to the northwest. What do you got? Something different?
Yeah, well, no, they were just, it looks like there's another, just, we were showing that rotation a little bit north of that, where we were picking up that rotation. They've now issued another tornado warning where we're seeing that rotation there.
Okay, so let's go ahead and pull out. We'll take a look at the entire viewing area, get an idea as to what's going on. There you go. There are the two warnings. Now, as I zoom in, these warnings include Meade County on into northern portions of Hardin County, Radcliffe, Vine Grove. You're under a tornado warning, so please, if you're down near the base, get into your place of safety. Get to your tornado warning shelter area. Just immediately south of Brandenburg, we have the tornado warning that's in effect. So maybe not Brandenburg proper, but just south of there, Ekron, Muldrow, Garrett, towards Flaherty. You folks are underneath the tornado warning. And then farther south of there, we have another tornado warning for a little bit of a hook. There's a little bit of chaotic wind here, some dangerous twisting of the winds going on. Just off to the northeast of Hardinsburg, on U.S. Highway 60 there, moving rapidly east-southeast at speeds of around 50 miles an hour, as Suzanne alluded to. So anywhere in these two red polygons, we got to be on the lookout for the potential for some quick tornado spin-ups here over the next several minutes. And you can see what we're talking about here. You can see these areas of light green right next to the darker green shades. That implies that sudden change in wind speed, cyclonic rotation, and that's when you can get these quick tornado spin-ups as they move off towards the east. So I'm going to track the first one here for you. As Suzanne talked about, there it is right there, moving off to the east-southeast at speeds of nearly 50 miles per hour. Ekron, 1145. Hillgrove, 1146. Flaherty, almost 1155 or so. Vine Grove, closer to midnight. And same in the Radcliffe area. The other little couplet, if you will, is a little bit farther south, very close to U.S. Highway 60 in central and east central portions of Breckinridge County. That too moving in an east and southeasterly direction at speeds of around 50 miles an hour. So we'll track that one. High Plains, 1150. Big Spring, 1153. Perryville, just after midnight. Down towards Vine Grove again in the Rhineyville area, about 5 minutes or so after midnight. In the metro, folks, there's not much happening at this point in time. As a matter of fact, we do have some locally heavy rainfall, a little bit of thunder and lightning going on. But as far as tornadic weather, not much happening. We do have severe thunderstorm warnings now in effect.
And that warning for the metro now goes until 12:15, so just a little bit after midnight. And we're actually picking up a little bit of rotation showing up on that line, where in the metro, we're going to be watching that closely as it moves across areas of Floyd County, Harrison County. This would be the strongest part of that storm as it kind of tracks into the metro. So for our friends in Floyd County, if you're in the Knobs, if you're in Shawnee Land, if you're in the Parkland area, Valley Station, PRP, I want you to just be aware this is a pretty potent storm that's going to be heading in your direction, where we currently have a severe thunderstorm warning. So as we get you in a little bit tighter here, notice that line. This is where that warning is, and we were showing you some broad rotation. So that's going to be pushing in to the western sections. It's going to be crossing over into the metro in the next several minutes. So we'll certainly be watching that closely. This is in addition to at the bottom flank of that, where we are looking at those two tornado warnings into Breckinridge County, Hardin County, and into portions of Meade County as well.
Okay, Suzanne, thank you so very much. So if you look real close there on the radar scan, you can actually see two distinct line segments now trying to form across the region. If you would, come back out to me with links one, guys. Okay, as you can see, from Charlestown and points off towards the southwest, right through southern Harrison County, and then just west of Brandenburg on into Hardinsburg. That's one line segment. And on the southern fringes of that western line segment, we have a little bit of rotation. A couple of weak tornadoes are certainly possible. Nothing confirmed. We're making phone calls, of course. National Weather Service folks, storm spotters, things like that, law enforcement. So far, so good. We don't have any confirmed touchdowns, but it is the middle of the night. It is raining, so hard to see. Nonetheless, a couple of warnings for tornadoes in effect. Then you can see another line segment that is rapidly developing from Spencer County, just off to the north of Bardstown, back to E-Town, down to Litchfield. This has intensified decently here over the past 15 to 20 minutes or so. Now, around Louisville, let's close in and talk about the metro a little more so. Suzanne just talked about, we have this line segment here in Harrison County, Floyd County, close to New Albany, just west of Lanesville. This is going to move its way easterly across the metro. Yes, I realize we have some pretty heavy weather already ongoing on the Watterson, Linden, J-Town, just north of Fern Creek. Lightning, thunder, maybe some small hail, some gusty winds. But the line segment that's coming in from Floyd County, Harrison County, that one has the potential to produce scattered wind gusts of 60 miles an hour. Again, in scattered locations, likely not the entire zone, but nonetheless, the threat is there. So as it moves across the metro and northern sections of Bullitt County, be on the lookout for some pretty strong winds as this thing travels through the metro. Once this line segment gets on through, that'll likely be it for the metro as far as the severe weather threat goes. Okay? We're not picking up too much rotation at all. Suzanne, did you check for that in and around the metro?
I did see a little bit just outside, just to the west on our rotation detector. We were picking up a little bit of shear along the, actually, if you want to switch over to Lynx 3 really quickly, we can show you that with Jay right there. It's right in that line that I was talking about. This is where we're seeing that rotation. So, you know, Jay, when you have strong storms, as you know, they rotate a lot of times. It doesn't mean they're a tornado, but it does mean that they're powerful storms. They have a lot of energy and they twist in the wind. So that's why we're picking up some of that rotation. But it's also indicative of a strong storm. And so we're going to be watching that as it continues to track into the metro. So heads up Shively if you're PRP, Dixie Highway, right along 264, the Shawnee Expressway, the Georgia Powers Expressway. We're going to be watching for that. And I think, Daniel, you had something to add as well, didn't you?
Yeah, you were mentioning some rotation showing up. I like that you showed the shear markers because that's really doing a good job at showing where the rotation is. Right now, we just have those two tornado warnings, of course, Breckenridge, Meade County, Hardin County. And you can see those behind me. Now, the Metro severe thunderstorm warning, I was waiting to see if the National Weather Service was going to issue a tornado tag because, as Suzanne mentioned, there's been a little bit of rotation in also in southern Harrison County. I've been watching that, too. South of New Middletown, just northeast of Brandenburg as well. We're seeing a little bit of rotation in that part of the severe thunderstorm warning. The part of the metro that's about to push through, that's actually on top of New Albany right now, and about to push through Louisville, just has a lot of heavy rain and gusty winds associated with it. But we'll keep monitoring it right now. We do have just those two tornado warnings down to our south, and then the larger severe thunderstorm warning impacting the metro. So right now, the metro, we're looking at hail, gusty winds, dangerous lightning for the next half hour or so as this storm pushes east. But yeah, there's a little bit of rotation all along the line, Jay. So we'll see if they're going to issue more tornado warnings or maintain just the severe thunderstorm warning right now because the rotation's not very impressive, but it's visible enough where a tornado could quickly spin up.
Okay, Daniel, thanks so very much. Bottom line, we just want to stay in our safety spot as this line of storms moves across the metro and also portions of Bullitt County. And again, New Albany getting hammered right now. The Portland neighborhood also getting hit hard. Down to near Shively, getting close to Valley Station, PRP. It arcs back on into southern Harrison County. The warning for the metro as well as the northern one half of Bullitt County goes until 12:15 Eastern Daylight Time. So watching from the metro, yeah, there's a threat for some high winds in scattered locations over about the next half hour or so as everything quickly races off to the east. Outside of the warned area, we still have a pretty good blow up of showers and storms. We'll pull out and take a look at all of the region, and you can see them running from Carrollton, Bedford, down into northern Henry County, Oldham County right now getting heavy rainfall, maybe a little bit of hail and some gusty winds, but nothing severe at this point in the game. Nonetheless, that trip up I-71 right now is no doubt a rough one. Then you get into the possibility of scattered wind gusts that could be 50 to 60 miles per hour from the line segment that's on the west end. It's going to be cruising its way east-southeast across the metro on into northern Bullitt County. Where it goes after that, obviously, we're talking Shelby County, Spencer County, on into Nelson County. Hopefully it'll weaken. If not, it could produce some pretty strong winds off to the east-southeast of the metro. Then we get into the 2 tornado warnings that remain in effect off to the southwest of Louisville. No tornado warnings for the metro, but we have a couple of warnings here. This is southern Meade County. This is northern Hardin County, Radcliffe and Vine Grove. You folks are included in this warning, so stay in your place of safety until this thing is passed on by. We also have the tornado warning that continues for east central portions of Breckinridge County and the far western tip of Hardin County. These warnings go until midnight tonight there for Breckinridge County, Hardin County, and the Vine Grove, Radcliffe area until 12:15. Possibility of brief tornado spin-ups as that line segment moves on through over the next 15 to 30 minutes or so. Still not much happening south of the parkways, as I've been talking about, though. That will be changing. Okay, if you are north of the Ohio River, and really the northern one half of Clark County and points off to the north and west, you're done. Just some light rainfall, some moderate rain, but the severe threat is now bypassing you farther off to the east and also the southeast. Suzanne?
And Jay, I don't know if you want to check this out and you can be in the key wall showing. I want to show you some of our Trimark cameras because this is the storm that's moving through that severe thunderstorm that we have that warning for. So this is right now a live look at 64 and 264, and you can see that rain is coming down in sheets here. And so again, this is right as that storm is moving through. This is another perspective here of 64 and 264 where that rain is coming down in buckets. And you can see that we've got some semi drivers with obviously flashing lights on here. You can see the flashes of lightning. So again, this is right as you're coming off the Sherman-Mitten Bridge, just past 264, the Georgia Powers Expressway. Another perspective here, you can see this is a look at 264. This is right at Crumbs Lane. So you'll notice if you look closely, it's difficult to even see. And every once in a while, you can actually see that camera, this Trimark camera, moving around a little bit with those gusty winds moving through. So again, this is right along 264 and Dixie Highway, and also showing you, of course, some of the strong storms moving through. We have a warning for the metro right now, and this is what it actually looks like here.
Yeah, pretty rough out there right now.
Certainly.
Sideways as far as the rain is concerned. You have some spray out there coming off the interstate. So if you don't have to go anywhere, and I know a lot of people work overnight or maybe have to get to work by 1, 2 a.m., if it's possible, you can wait it out, let this line move on through, and it will over the next half hour to an hour in the metro, a little bit later off to the southeast. But yeah, as Suzanne alluded to, wow, look at that. Visibility cut, rain coming down in sheets right now with those gusty winds around the western one half of the metro.
Yeah.
And this is all working off towards the east as well. That camera is shaking around pretty good right now.
And that's 64 at 9th Street. That's actually one of our more stable cameras. That camera does not usually move around like that. So just an indication of just how strong those winds are right now and that rain that is coming down in buckets. Jay, I think you probably want to switch over to Links 1. It looks like we have the tornado warning now in Hardin County that will continue until 12:30.
Yeah, and it looks like it's getting into the E-Town area as well. So let's get right to it. Let's zoom in tight here. Let's go down to Hardin County. The tornado warning, a new one, an extension, has been issued for central and northern portions of Hardin County to include the E-Town region, especially from about 65 and points off to the west. You can see 31W there, Dixie Highway, and points off to the west. We have the tornado warning in effect now. So please, if you're in and around E-Town, over towards Rineyville, and then over towards the Breckinridge Hardin County line, stay in your basement, folks. This line of storms looks like it is wrapping up just a little bit, has some rotation, and could produce a tornado at a moment's notice. You can see some broad rotation right now with this particular cell as it's racing off towards the east-northeast. As a matter of fact, there's the rotation right there. And what I'm talking about rotation, see the green? Those are winds that are blowing up towards the radar, which is up here. read the opposite direction. So there is your rotation right there, and this is moving off in an easterly direction. There's another batch of rotation, as you can see right there, immediately off to the west of Vine Grove and Radcliffe. Both those areas moving quickly east-southeast could produce weak tornadoes along their path as they move into places like Hardin County and continue to move across far southeastern sections of Breckenridge County. Guys, do you have any reports coming in?
We have not gotten any reports, but right kind of the bullseye, if we want to switch over quickly to links 3, Jay, just as you were talking about, that's kind of the bullseye of, I think, where we're seeing the most significant rotation, and it ebbs and flows as it continues to move through. But that's right in that Four Corners area, heading into the Perryville area. And so if this were to hold together, this would head into the Elizabethtown area. I think we're really battling, unfortunately, not being able to get a lot of reports. So when the National Weather Service is seeing the rotation on the radar, I think out of an abundance of caution, especially considering the afternoon that we had, that's why we're watching for these warnings. But that is probably the best rotation that I had seen this evening, right in that Four Corners area where we're picking up that rotation there. I think, Daniel, you've got something to add.
If you guys want to keep that map up, and if you can zoom just a little bit to the left up toward Custer, just to your west, that right there, yeah, that's where the rotation went through just a few minutes ago. We had someone from the fire department chime in on the National Weather Service chat and saying that rotation went right over him. He didn't see anything, just some really strong gusts up to 55 miles per hour is what he measured. So that's good news in terms of hoping that rotation isn't working its way to the ground. It doesn't mean there's not going to be a tornado that is spinning up. It's one of those types of systems where a tornado can touch down quickly, go back up in the cloud, and then come back down again. But at least we're getting a report from Custer in Breckenridge County where the rotation did just go over. He said no tornado on the ground, at least there, where he was.
Okay, good news there. All right, but let's not put down our guard, certainly, as we have a number of tornado warnings that remain in effect until after midnight tonight to the south of the metro. And in the metro itself, we do have severe thunderstorm warnings for the possibility of 60-mile-an-hour winds. And I'll tell you what, it is blowing very hard out there right now, as Suzanne talked about. We'll take a look at some of our tower cams as we look outside. This is a view from the studio back towards the city. And I'll tell you what, we can't see much just because of the heavy rainfall. Excuse me, the heavy rainfall and the winds that are blowing quite strong right now, 55 miles per hour. We'll go over to another one of our tower cams, and this is looking from the Sheraton in Jeffersonville. That's the 2nd Street Bridge, downtown Louisville. We're getting pretty decent flashes of lightning out there right now. So some pretty heavy weather moving through the city as we speak, and it's going to continue to push off towards the east at a pretty good clip here over the next 15 to 30 minutes or so. We'll put our reflectivity back on. I'm going to zoom in tight to the metro itself as we just talked about the tornadic cells, the potentially tornadic cells off to the south. You can see the very heavy rainfall. Valley Station, Shively, downtown, and then up the 71 corridor as we're working towards Prospect, the Glen Oaks area, the Ford truck plant, Crestwood, Pewee Valley. This is that line that is indeed not only producing blinding rainfall, but winds that could be 50 to 60 miles per hour in random locations as everything cruises off to the east. So watching from J-Town, Fern Creek, Glen Mary, points off to the east, you still have some heavy weather heading in your direction. Suzanne?
Yeah, and actually, you were showing us exactly what was happening. I want to just quickly, if we could, finish up and show you really quickly some of our Trimark cameras to give you an indication of what you're seeing as it's moving through the metro. So right now, this is a live look at 264, a little bit closer to Brownsboro Road. You can see there is standing water here on the roadway here. Just an indication of these storms as they are continuing to move through the metro. Obviously, anyone driving in this is going to be very hazardous. Now, in the metro, we currently have that severe thunderstorm warning, and you can see torrential downpours. This is a live look at the Lincoln Bridge. This is a look at 64 into the downtown area. Visibility is practically to nothing at this point. A live look at 264. This is right near Crumbs Lane. Again, some very heavy rainfall there. And you can see it is just absolutely pouring. This is a live look at the Waterston right over by Breckenridge Lane, where it is just pouring here. So what we're watching is that line, a potent line of storms moving through. Now in the metro, what we're dealing with is a severe thunderstorm warning. This is what we're watching here. So this is moving right along the Waterston into the Windy Hills area, Barber Mead, Northfield. Heads up if you're in Middletown, if you're in Hurstbourne, if you're in Waterston Park, Newburgh, you're about to get the brunt of this storm heading in your direction. This is heading into Minor Lane Heights. It's about to cross over 65 and the Gene Snyder. It's moving right through the Fairdale area in the next couple of minutes. And again, very strong winds have been reported with this line of storms. Now, what we're watching as far as warnings, I want to paint on some of these warnings for you to give you an idea of what's happening. This right here, this line moving through the metro, that's a severe thunderstorm warning that will continue for about the next half hour or so. What we're watching farther down to the south is where we have a couple of tornado warnings where we're watching some of that rotation continuing to push through the Radcliffe area, Vine Grove, through Longview, back through areas of the Howe Valley. This is also showing me some rotation here into Hardin County, into the Roanoke area. Also, that's going to be pushing into areas of Nelson County, also into portions of LaRue County. So this is a really strong line of storms moving through. And right now in the metro, no tornado warning, but certainly there may be some rotation that's showing up with some of these storms that are moving through the metro at this time. So something that we'll be watching very closely. If nothing else, I think we're seeing some very strong winds moving through portions of the metro at this point. I don't know, Daniel, have we had any reports out of the airport yet? Because this is picking up at least 49-mile-per-hour winds into areas of South Parkland, right along Dixie Highway from a little bit earlier.
Yeah, so they're reporting thunder and some light rain. The worst of it is about to hit the airport.
Okay,
so,
yeah.
So we're waiting on that wind gust that's approaching there. But the metro, getting hit hard with some of these strong storms, to severe storms here with these strong winds. So we're expecting winds to pick up if it's not happening in your neighborhood just yet. This line is about to roll through. And then, of course, just wanted to remind everyone the 2 tornado warnings you see down there just south of the metro. If you guys don't mind popping up Storm Analyzer, just to give a quick review of where those 2 tornado warnings are now in effect. So down into St. John, Cecilia, E-Town. For those of you listening or watching in those areas, Rineyville, take cover, as there is a tornado warning in effect. Now, the rotation isn't that obvious rotation that we saw earlier today, but there's definitely some rotation there. So again, central portions of Hardin County, and then we have the next tornado warning just north of there. For those of you in Radcliffe, Vine Grove, make sure you're in your safe spot right now, just to be safe, just in case there's a tornado warning in effect there as well. That includes Fort Knox as well. So be sure you're in your safe spot. And that tornado warning is until 12:15. That's Meade and Hardin County.
And Daniel, I'm just checking out the Mesonet here in Breckenridge County. The Mesonet did get a 62-mile-per-hour wind gust. And also it looks like into portions of Carroll County. Now, this is since midnight, so it's 12:03. So I hope that this has been updated and it wasn't from earlier, but they do look like in areas of Carroll County that they were seeing some gusty winds there as well. So again, we'll be watching that closely, but in Breckenridge County did have some reports of some very strong winds there. So
and now we have an airport wind gust here in Louisville, 52 miles per hour.
52 miles per hour.
So that storm has now rolled through.
Hey guys, if you would take the analyzer in the key wall for me. Suzanne, if you would run this for me. We have the warnings on top of it as we speak. As you can see, severe thunderstorm warning for the metro. Let's go down into this region right here, pull out there just a little bit, and put on the base velocity for me, if you would. One thing that I was watching, the rotation wasn't all that impressive in the tornado warned zones. But check out some of the straight line winds here, immediately west of Shepherdsville. You see those brighter shades of red. Those are winds, no doubt, in excess of 60 miles per hour. As Suzanne just talked about, we've had measured wind gusts since midnight, over 60 miles an hour in places like Breckenridge County. Well, it looks like this very strong wind gust is going to be pretty much on top of you folks in Shepherdsville here in relatively short order. So be on the lookout for that damaging wind gust. And of course, you are underneath a severe thunderstorm warning for such an event, for the strong winds. And then farther off to the south, there's still broad rotation. See the green and the red in between Radcliffe and Rhineyville. Very weak rotation, but in tonight's environment, it's possible something very weak could rapidly come down to the ground and go right back up. So we don't want to put down our guard. And then a little bit farther off to the south, you see the E-Town area. I don't see anything tornadic in the E-Town area, but notice we do have a change in wind direction just off to the west. So again, if you're in E-Town, close to E-Town, west of there, on towards, let's call it Radcliffe, Vine Grove,